think men care about sex more than anything else in the world? Think again. In this video, I'll reveal the 3 things that men want more than sex and how you can make these dreams a reality. Hi, I'm Amy North, author of The Devotion System and Text Chemistry. It's my mission to offer simple dating advice that you can actually use. If you could use a little help navigating the complex world of modern dating, hit that subscribe button right now. And while you're at it, please like this video as well. It really helps me out. So, it's become a pretty popular cliche that men are only interested in sex and nothing else. But, truthfully, there are these 3 things that men want even more than they want sex. And I'm not one to beat around the bush, so let's just get straight into it. Men want to be desired, they want to be in control, and they want to feel supported. These 3 things are the bedrock of any successful relationship. Chances are you're already providing all 3. But if you want to maximize his happiness and yours, you need to pay attention to how you're fulfilling these needs so that you can make them a priority. Let's start with desire. Unfortunately, this is one that many women get wrong. This is because men and women experience desire differently, and the way we show our partner desire is often more in line with what we want than what they want. What I mean is that if your way of showing desire is to be emotionally available, curious about his inner thoughts, and present in the relationship, you might need to rethink your approach. The truth is, men don't respond to this the way that we want them to because men aren't wired quite the same way as women are. This is where the golden rule gets us into trouble. Instead of treating him how you want to be treated, you've got to treat him how he wants to be treated. The good news is that, like women, men often treat their partners the way they want to be treated. And how is it that most men show their desire? That's right, it's physical, either through compliments, physical touch, or sexual advances. In order to make him feel desire, you'll need to use all 3. So, try harder with your compliments. Instead of just blurting out whatever comes to mind, really sit and watch him when you get the chance. Try to pick out what exactly it is that attracts you to him and let him know. In this case, the physical is the most important, but a well-placed compliment about his mind or his personality is always welcome. Don't overdo compliments or they'll get old fast. Always use them carefully and deliberately. Take notice of the compliments your guy seems to enjoy most. Often guys will deflect compliments or change the subject, but you can still see when one really hits home. Next, let's talk about physical touch and initiating sex. This is something that many women don't even consider doing, and it's hurting their ability to make men feel desired. The reasons behind this aren't completely understood. Some scientists believe that women are hardwired to be more receptive, whereas men are wired to be proactive when it comes to their desire. But it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, a recent study from the University of California found that 72% of men want women to initiate sex more often. Some of you don't even know how to go about doing this because you've never really had to, but it can completely transform your relationship if you're willing to take the plunge. Here are a few simple tips for initiating sex with your partner. First, address the awkwardness. It's normal to be nervous in a situation like this, but don't let it scare you off. In fact, if you're upfront that you're nervous trying to initiate sex, this can actually be charming. Second, use your hands. Touch his body in a way that's more forward than you may be used to. Men respond to touch, pressure, and excitement. Don't hold back and don't be afraid to skip a few steps in the foreplay so that you're the one running the show. At a certain point, he's going to take the hint and probably take over, but by then the point will be made. You desire him like nothing else in the world. Third, give him a sexy massage. This is a fantasy for a lot of guys, so I know he won't be disappointed when your hands wander a little from his back to his front. Take your time with this one and he'll be putty in your hands. Now, let's move on to the second thing that men want. They want to be in control. Don't get this one twisted. I'm not saying that you need to let him dictate every aspect of the relationship or hold some kind of power over you. I'm just saying that many men like to feel a sense of control in their lives, and that extends to the relationship. So, let's talk about ways you can make him feel like the dominant one, so that don't actually require you to give up your own autonomy. Chances are you're already doing a few of these things on your own, like letting him drive on the long drive home, or letting him decide what movie you watch. The real trick here is to let go of any control freak tendencies you might have, not just for his sake, but for your own. Because the need to micromanage every aspect of your life, including other people's actions, is not only a fool's errand, it can downright be destructive to your own mental health and the relationship. The truth is that there's so much in life that is outside of our control. This is something we all struggle with. In an effort to combat this, we often grab control wherever we can get it and hold on for dear life. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that this approach rarely works the way you want it to. We end up frustrated, exhausted, and overwhelmed by our own powerlessness. Yes, the more tightly we grip things, the more easily they slip through our fingers. You don't have to give up your own agency to make him feel powerful. Think of it like dancing. Men often lead the dance, but we all know if they really had it their way, they wouldn't be dancing at all. If you can allow him to take the lead more often, it will show him that you trust him, and that trust is going to make him feel more secure, happy, and in control. So compromise on something you've been bugging him about, and try accepting that he knows best how to run his own life. Something else I suggest early on in the relationship is playing hard to get. One of the many reasons it works is because it makes him feel like he's the one in control. If he's the one reaching out to you, seeking your attention, and asking you out, then he feels like the leader and not the follower. At the end of the day, you will end up in the same place. The difference is only how the two of you will feel about your dynamic. Another easy way to play into this dynamic is to use the simple phrase, surprise me. Say this when he asks what you'd like to do on your date. Say it when he asks you what you want for dinner. Say it when he asks you what to watch that evening. This is best for low-stake decisions that you don't really care about, but don't be afraid to take charge of the things that are important to you. In fact, the more you can equalize the relationship, the more he's going to take you seriously when you do insist on something. If you're always the one in control, then he won't know the difference between times that you feel strongly and times that you're just letting your A-type personality run wild. At the end of the day, if you're in a relationship where you can't trust him to take the lead, then I think you need to question either your own control issues or who you've chosen to be with. Do you really want to spend your life with a guy who you can't trust to handle the little things every once in a while? A huge part of him feeling in control is making him feel that you need him. There's a lot to be said about the distinction between wanting a guy and needing a guy. Let's leave all that aside for now. I'm just talking about showing him how valuable he is to you. He needs to know that without him, your life wouldn't quite be the same. Things would be more difficult, scarier, and harder to face. Now, we all know you'd get through things on your own just fine, just like you did before he came along, but it's a nice thought that is going to be very flattering to any man. Think of it like role-playing. At the end of the day, we're all just playing house with our partners. That means we can create any relationship we want, and if it's with the right person, it can be safe, fulfilling, and happy, regardless of what others may say about it. Now, let's talk about the final thing that men want more than sex, and that's support. This is the paradox we all face in a relationship. We want freedom and control, but we also want the love and support of another person. Every relationship is a constant state of coming together and pulling apart. So while control is something he craves, support is equally important to him. One of the easiest ways to make him feel supported is by taking his side whenever possible. Don't play devil's advocate or take the side of someone else who he's in a conflict with. This is most important when the other person is there, in person. Taking someone else's side in this kind of situation is betrayal that can destroy the trust you've created with a guy. But the same goes for behind closed doors. If he's complaining about something that happened at work or getting cut off in traffic, take this opportunity to build him up, not drag him down. I know you're only hearing one side of the story, but at the end of the day, chances are he's just coming to you to vent about something, and your role in that situation is to support him. There are obviously situations where you're going to disagree, but your default should always be to give him the benefit of the doubt. Another great way to support your man is to be an active listener. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. We're all guilty of this one, but if you're aware of it, you can change your attitude and really listen to him when he needs you most. Don't just think about the words he's saying. Pay equal attention to what he's not saying, his body language and how he feels about it. For example, say he tells you that he just found out that a relative of his died out of nowhere. He says they weren't that close and that they had lived a good life, but you can see that he's crossing his arms and his face has turned pale. In this situation, you can see that despite what he's saying, he's really hurting right now and needs your support. Many men lack the kind of emotional intelligence to let you know they need support, so this is going to be something you'll have to carefully feel out. Don't push him to discuss things when he's not ready. I know you're doing it out of love, but everyone just needs to take things at their own pace. Just make sure he knows that you're there for him and that he can count on you if he needs someone to listen to his thoughts without judgment. When words fail, physical affection is another great way to show him support. A simple hug, a kiss, or a touch on the arm can be enough to get the message across. And don't be afraid to check in on your partner every once in a while and see how he's doing. I know you probably talk to him pretty consistently, so you have to figure out a way to let him know that you're really interested in how he's feeling, not just looking for a "good, you?" There are many other ways to show your support that don't require a deep conversation. Once you've been with someone for a while, you start to know what makes them happy, whether it's a movie night with friends, a six-pack of his favorite beer, or a back rub. While support is extra important in times of stress or loss, showing him you have his back even when things are great is just as important. That just about does it for this video. I hope you've learned a little something about what men want more than sex. The truth is, we all want these things in a relationship, and often the best way for us to get them is to lead by example. So these tips will work just as well if you're dealing with a boyfriend who isn't meeting your needs. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you next time.